This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. Netanyahu wins Israel election. Terrorist attack in Tunisia.
Everything was engulfed in flames.
And fatal car crash in North Hills. Hello, and welcome to Matador News. I'm Jessica Atkins.
And I'm Janayle Ruiz.
More than 20 people are dead after a terrorist attack at a museum in North Africa. The attack happened at the Bardo Museum in the Tunisian capital city. The museum is right next to the nation's parliament building. Tunisian security forces killed 2 gunmen but are still searching for 3 more. 17 tourists were killed along with a Tunisian security guard. 22 others were also wounded in the attack. The Tunisian Prime Minister says he believes this was done by religious extremists as a way to hurt the economy. In the past, Tunisia has not had the same level of violence as neighboring countries Egypt and Libya.
The driver of the truck in yesterday's fatal North Hills accident is in critical condition in a local hospital. The driver of the SUV was pronounced dead at the scene. LAPD Detective William Bustos says 2 people were taken to the hospital.
At this particular point, we know that the 2 occupants in the box truck, they were injured. One was transported to the hospital. The other one was suffered some injuries but was not transported.
Witnesses say that the SUV was going south on Havenhurst when it ran through a red light and was T-boned by a delivery truck going east on Lassen on a green light. The intersection was closed yesterday after the accident in efforts to clean up the wreckage. City officials have cleaned up the accident and are getting the streets back into order.
Benjamin Netanyahu has claimed victory today as Israel's prime minister despite the fact he has trailed in polls for weeks. His victory gives him the responsibility of forming a new coalition government. Netanyahu says he is glad the Israeli people ultimately voted for him.
And I'm proud. I'm proud for the people of Israel that in the moment of truth knew to make the right decision and to choose the real material things over immaterial things.
However, opposition leaders are saying Netanyahu is a divisive prime minister who is not concerned with the lives of ordinary Israelis. Netanyahu is also at odds with the Obama administration. 2 weeks ago, he spoke to the U.S. Congress warning against a nuclear program deal with Iran. He also says he will never support a Palestinian state, a policy which goes against Obama's 2-state solution.
First Lady Michelle Obama just arrived in Japan. She is there to highlight the Let Girls Learn campaign. The initiative is meant to help girls in developing countries go to school. The First Lady will be touring for 5 days, visiting Japan and Cambodia. The First Lady's visit comes as U.S. Ambassador to Japan, Caroline Kennedy, receives death threats. The U.S. Embassy last month received the threat via telephone by an English-speaking man.
The Secret Service says an envelope testing positive for cyanide was found in a White House mail screening facility. No one was hurt from the exposure to the toxic substance. The return address reportedly went back to a man who was on the Secret Service list already. He apparently has a 20-year history of sending packages with urine and feces on them to the White House.
A 12th Venice high school student is connected with the ongoing sex crime scandal has turned himself in. The student surrendered to officers at Los Angeles Police Department's Pacific Station. Authorities originally arrested 10 boys ages 14 to 17 involved in the sexual assault allegation Friday, and now have arrested 2 more this week. Authorities say that the group of male teenagers pressed 2 female minors into numerous sex acts. The arrest came after LAPD officers caught wind from students about the arrests. LAPD officers are still investigating.
Matador News reporter Cristal Canedo is in the newsroom with more on the Take Back the Night rally.
The 10th annual Take Back the Night rally is scheduled for tomorrow to protest against violence against women. Most violent acts against women happen between 6 to 10 at night. Some seasoned students say they feel less comfortable walking through campus at night.
I tend to walk faster while like walking through the parking lots, but I would say just a little bit. I don't feel very safe, but just at night though.
Like look around a little more, but I try to park as close as I can. If I'm parking far, I usually walk with someone. I wouldn't walk alone.
No, like especially if there's no one around, like I'm always like on a head spin all the time.
Women on college campuses ages 18 to 24 are at a greater risk for becoming victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, and even stalking. The event takes place during the night at the USU and is put together as a reminder to women that they can overcome the fear of violence. Protesters will march by candlelight from the USU to the Women's Research and Source and Center located on Halsted Street. The event is located to everybody, not just women. Now let's toss over to Teresa Barrientos for entertainment.
Donald Trump will not be renewing his contract for The Apprentice with NBC. Instead, he will launch a presidential exploratory committee. Speaking before a conservative group a few weeks ago, he said his business experience and wealth place him above other potential candidates.
A lot of people think I'm doing this for fun. They think it's good for my brand, and I'm here, and I'm doing that, and I'm a big successful guy. I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing it because we have to take our country back.
His team of new political advisors is based in New York with staff in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. He is confirmed to speak at the Republican Leadership Summit in New Hampshire in April. Trump also said in a tweet that he is the only person who can make America truly great again. Nintendo will be making smartphone games featuring some of its most popular characters. This comes after Nintendo announced a partnership with Japanese mobile gaming company DNA. All of the games for the small screen will be new adaptations. Games originally designed for Nintendo consoles may not have an easy transition onto the small screen. The partnership is a significant move for Nintendo, as they have struggled with gaming console sales in recent years. Now let's toss over to Anna Akopyan for the latest in health.
Kraft launches a recall on millions of macaroni and cheese boxes that may contain small pieces of metal. The boxes have expiration dates ranging from September 18th to October 11th of this year. Approximately 6.5 million boxes from that date range have been sold throughout the U.S. The Kraft Food Company reported 8 incidents of consumers finding metals in boxes, but no reports of injuries. The company says consumers shouldn't eat the macaroni, but may return it to the store for a full refund. A new study shows people who are breastfed as infants end up having higher IQs and higher incomes in adulthood. The study shows the longer a child is breastfed up to a year, the more beneficial it is to them. The study tracked 3,500 newborns in Brazil over 30 years and showed the benefits of longer schooling and higher adult earnings. The study published in the Lancet Medical Journal says the socioeconomic status of mothers appeared to have little impact on breastfeeding results. Now let's toss over to Teresa Barrientos for our business news.
Toys R Us is set to close its massive store in Times Square in 2016. This store is iconic for its indoor Ferris wheel, an enormous Barbie dollhouse, and a giant dinosaur. Rent for the building is at $2,500 per square foot on the ground floor, $350 on the second floor, and $150 on the lower level. The building's spokesperson said it is likely multiple retailers will be needed to occupy the space. The store has been in Times Square for over a decade. The Federal Reserve is showing signs of getting closer to raising interest rates from record lows. After a meeting this week, the Reserve is hinting interest rates may not go up right away. Changes may not come until June. Although the time frame is not exact, the Reserve said it will act when it sees improvement in the labor market. Now let's toss over to Anna Akopyan for sports.
President Obama makes his predictions for the NCAA March Madness. He picked Kentucky to beat Arizona to the title game.
Arizona has the best chance to upset Kentucky, but I don't think they quite pull it off. I think Kentucky moves on.
He already has one loss on his sheet. BYU beat Ole Miss in the opening round game. For the regional finals in the Midwest, he picks Kentucky over Notre Dame. CSUN women's basketball team will play against Stanford this Saturday in the NCAA women's tournament. CSUN is currently standing with 23 wins and 9 losses. Stanford has 24 wins and 9 losses. The CSUN women's team shows an improvement from last year when they were seeded at number 16. This year, they are seeded at number 13. The game in Palo Alto will be aired on ESPN2 at 3:30 this afternoon.
That's all for sports. Now back to Jessica.
That's it for today's edition of Matador News. Thank you for watching. I'm Jessica Atkins.
I'm Janayle Ruiz.